Lovely welcome to this new transmission of the Gene Keys, and I'm excited to talk about the 35 Gene Key today, which is the shadow of hunger, the gift of adventure, and the city of boundlessness. The programming partner of this Gene Key is the 5th Gene Key. I put the information like always here, and so let's jump right into the transmission. As always, I have a mix out of extractions from the book, also my own experiences and limiting beliefs that convince us still that we have to stay in a kind of shadow mode, even if that is not logical anymore for us. So the psychology of this is the thyroid is like the glands we have inside, and also parathyroid. The Codon ring of this is the ring of miracles, and this is the only gene key that is in this ring of miracles. There's no second gene key that is bounded in this Codon ring. Let's go right into the shadow hunger, the hunger of the spacious. The classic translation for this 35th hexagram of the I Ching is the word progress, which is very apt since the 35 Gene Key drives all human progress. So it's really about how we progress in an evolutionary sense, what we learn. For example, we in the last 30 years get more to know about technology, how to use it, how we should not use it. So there's a lot of progress in that sense. And in the shadow state, we probably use the progress also to let us more down, and to what also in a lot of sense happen on parts of the earth and parts of inside people, that we have the feeling we are more observed, everyone know what we are doing, and at the same time this is also an inner state of our insecurity, that we feel like there is a division between us and outside of us. So we distract ourselves in a sense. So in a nutshell, what the 35th shadow does is this word, the true progress out into the world of form, those sacrificing its potential to transform the inner structure of humanity itself. Those, because of this shadow, the outer world evolves at the expense of the inner. So exactly kind of what I told before, you can say. So this deep unrest within the human body drives human beings out into the world to try to find something that can bring an end to what is essentially genetic hunger. This hunger drives all human experience, from drugs, food and sex, all of which may increase serotonin levels briefly, to business, religion, science and even war. However, no matter how you try to satisfy your hunger in the outer world, it will never be enough. It is your very impatience that fuels your hunger, and your hunger that fuels your impatience. A classic biofeedback loop that keeps human beings operating at the shadow frequency. So we always reinforce our shadows by also projecting something out from inside of us outside. For example, we project something and ask a friend if what we're doing is correct, or if they would give a suggestion to do it differently. And we do it not because we want to honestly expand our vision. We do it because we want the acceptance from someone outside of us to give us like a hint if we are on the right track or not. And so we give all of our creative individual power, you can say, away from us and project it out. And when a person is telling something we don't like, we fall in self-doubt and we think like, oh, is this really right what we're doing? And all of this is also entangled in this biofeedback loop, you can say. This is what humanity is right now. When you are truly hungry, you cannot think about the consequences of eating. You are simply possessed by the urge to fill yourself. Yeah, not a lot more to say about this, right? Like we all know that there's so many distractions we are able to fill ourselves with, from food to movies to other distractions, to alcohol, to drugs, so many distractions. There are just some small distractions, even spirituality and this gene key system. When you work with this at only a shadow level is a distraction, because you use it as a distraction to distract yourself, and you are not playfully using it from a gift and from a higher level to get to know yourself more. So even all the systems out there, even gene keys, is most of the times even from people still used in a shadow way of distracting. That's just something to contemplate and to think about. Because I also know that most people, when they read the gene keys, probably you are not one of them, but when they read the gene keys, the book, they read, for example, of this 35 gene key, they read the shadow, then maybe they start to read the gift, and at the half of the gift they think like, maybe I should take a break now, and then they don't continue to finish the gift, and they don't even consider starting the city. And it's so important when you start one gene key that you finish from the shadow to the city, because then you have the whole information, and you know exactly how everything is entangled and working together. And most people, they're just interested in the shadows. It's just also funny in a way. Like in a higher consciousness sense, it's really funny and highly contagious also, to intoxicated in a way also, instead of distracting them. So modern science has now even identified that low levels of serotonin in the body leads to states of depression and craving. What science doesn't realize is that almost all human beings have low levels of serotonin, because what scientists are talking as or taking as the norm is really the shadow frequency. So yeah, this makes absolutely sense that they observe what is the current level of consciousness and awareness of humanities and frequency, and from this perspective they make the definition. They have like maybe 5,000 people where they check the serotonin level, and because all of them have a lower frequency level, for sure the serotonin level is low, and that's why they say this is the normal level, even if that is only true for that low level of frequency and not for the higher levels of frequency. And that's like always like this in the collective and in our society. So it's really important to keep an open, expanding view to the world. And only when you see how trapped you are by this chemistry does a new sense of freedom begin to rise up within you. You stop the energy from moving out into the world and drive it back inside. This is when the leap occurs. There is an inner crossing over within your awareness, and the great adventure of the 35th gift awakens you to a new level of awareness. The repressive side here is bored. People are just bored here. Such people are afraid of what their lives might become if they allow the hunger to dictate their direction, so they find ways to keep it beneath the surface. Then we have like the reactive nature is a maniac. This is the reactive of the 35 shadow, is too busy to be bored. These are people who are so afraid of their lives being empty that they continuously fill them with activity. They constantly look for external stimuli to fulfill their hunger. Thus, they move from one flower to the next in a kind of lustful frenzy. The maniac nature is driven by the deep urge to escape its own past and find the perfect place, person, or situation to fulfill its dreams. In wishing for such a state, these people miss the real goal, which is the adventure itself. Yeah, they see the tree not because they see only the forest, and they let themselves distract of everything, and somehow they're like not so in the present, more in the past, in the future, and always acting on something. Let's go to the gift, adventure. Very, very exciting. This is the inner space, the final frontier. Love is the only force that can bring an end to the hunger of the certified shadow. With love, serotonin production is increased and stabilizes with the chemistry of the human brain. For humanity, progress means you have to evolve in your awareness, and your next step beyond mental awareness is to leap into the higher awareness of the heart. What we are referring to as the heart actually has its roots within the complex ganglia of the solar plexus system. It is through a higher functioning of your solar plexus that you can experience what love truly is. Love has nothing to do with another separate person, but is the connective tissue underlying all creation. What most human beings currently view as love is the brief fulfillment of the hunger of the 35 shadow by means of an outer stimulus or person, a distant hint of what love really means. So essential and important. And I also had so many experiences and in my life also where even today sometimes I just do some stimulus and want to distract myself, and still in a level let myself convince from a negative or limiting beliefs that I have to go through these stages. And that's why it's still a learning. And when, like me for example, I'm able to reflect it, it's not like I'm in a victimhood of my beliefs. I know that they're there, and I know sometimes I let them a bit freehood and a little bit free, and let them also have their parts in my life. That is the most important, that you are in an observation state, in a distant observation state, and you know, there are still some limiting beliefs. However, they are not so strong anymore that they victimize yourself fully. At the same time, you still let them a little bit freedom in a sense. And it's all about love, and very important. And the certified gift is the only place within all human DNA that human beings have a choice in how their reality is constructed. Very important, because that's because of the Codon ring of the miracles also, and it's a very special gene key, because you always have this feeling you are in you are in full you are everything you did, you create because you consciously created. And a lot of times we say no, it's not our limiting beliefs or belief systems that create our world, or the definitions, and we say oh no, that's our thinking, our emotions and everything. And at the same time it's a lot of times misunderstood, and a lot of times it's our belief systems and together with us that created our reality. And here in this 35 Chinky we have the active choice to reach a higher frequency, like an active, a conscious choice to do that. And that is very unique. So adventure is what happens when the human spirit breaks free from the mind. Adventure is a state of being that comes from the realization of the oneness of all beings. Adventure is not yet immersion in that oneness, but it is what it feels like to swim within that oneness. So it's like you are individual, and at the same time you know everything outside of you is also a reflection of your inside. And that oneness can only be felt when enough serotonin is produced within our bodies. So it's all about the chemistry levels inside our body and our like physical vehicle, and this is like the love we experience, and then this is also the oneness we experience. And when we go more down and down and down into our thinking and questions, in distractions, we move away from this feeling of oneness with everything else. So higher consciousness comes about due to the delicate balance of all these chemicals in highly specific quantities and cocktails. So exact and finely tuned is this balance inside each person, that it can only come about through a natural inner organic process. So that is really important, because we have to let go of what we want and what we believe that we think we need, and we have to devote ourselves to our higher self, to our true self, to our soul, to our soul's mission and purpose, and let the experiences be expressed that we need to experience, and that we want to experience from a higher level perspective. And then it's all about the attitude we have towards the experiences we have. So to live with an open heart is to live in a perpetuate state of adventure. Adventure means that there is still some fear inside you, but you have reached a frequency that you know is high enough to outwit that fear. Every human being has the choice to take a path of love. Very important. Totally feel like that, and probably you are too while you are still watching this. When you give when you give to another unconditionally, you actually stimulate the secretion of serotonin. What's very interesting, so when we give out of our heart unconditionally something, we're really in this love and in this oneness. This not only makes you feel happy, but also inducts a deep state of trust that you are in harmony with the entire universe. In the world that we currently inhabit, giving unconditionally is such a radical move that is literally short-circuiting other people's brains. It gives others a moment of pause where they are forced to look at themselves and their lives in the mirror of your actions. This is a lot of times what I have noticed when I really talk out of my heart with other people, that they sit there and say like, somehow I have hard times now to think, something is strange now. So it's really working that way. It's a short circuiting of the brain to really, in a way, intoxicate, which is the 56th chinky. Distractions is so funny. Like the low is the shadow is distraction, then enrichment and intoxication. And it's like I'm sometimes like really in this mood of intoxicating people, and then it's short-circuiting their brains and their belief systems, and they are a little bit confused in a way also. why probably there's no thinking, and they're like, wait a second, why there's no thinking? And then when they ask a question, it comes back again, and it's very funny. So it's also written here, the 35th gift is the only place in the entire 64 gene keys where a human being can actually do something consciously to raise their frequency. They can embark on the adventure of love and catalyze a genetic speeding of their own evolution. So by acting, you consciously are able to do something. By acting unconditionally and serving the whole, you automatically raise the frequency to love and oneness. So if you happen to reading this 35 Chinky or watching it with me now and contemplating, then you have stumbled up on the greatest single secret hidden within all human DNA. And we are able, with our free will, to increase our conscious level higher and higher, only when we unconditionally serve to the whole and others. That's the trick. So you could also say this is not a progress like in the shadow state. This is an easy progress that automatically unfolds. Let's go to the City, Boundlessness, a back door into bliss. The interesting thing about the 35th gene key is that it breaks all genetic laws. It allows human beings to take charge of their own evolution and outwit the global genetic program. Just as the 35th gift breaks laws, so does the 35th City. It invites human beings to expand their consciousness so far that they leave the sphere of evolution altogether. As we saw, the 35th gift still contains traces of fear, since fear is what gives the edge to adventure of life. At the level of the 35th City, the fear is gone because you are gone. The adventure is over, and boundlessness is consciousness. So boundlessness is consciousness, is love. Well, we enter the paradoxical Siddhic state that is beyond all concept of our questions and physical mind. Very few human beings can handle the concept of boundlessness because it has diffusing effects on your mind. It invites you to move out of your mind and into your heart. It is really the heart that knows no bounds, which is why consciousness is the same word as love. Along with its polarity, the 5th City of timelessness, the 35th City forms the arc of the infinite. There are no boundaries to life, and there can be no beginnings and no ends. Everything is infinite, and that's the paradoxical part. And at the same time, it's exciting because we with our minds, even our physical minds, we are able to grasp that concept, and I'm able to communicate about this and talk about this. So this is truly exciting because it shows that even the mind is able to grasp like these concepts in a sense. So what can the 35th City tell us? It can tell us only one thing, that pure unconditional love can break all the laws of the cosmos. Whenever you taste even a fraction of this kind of love, anything becomes possible. Anything. And it just like now give you like a short of my unconditional love over this video transmission, and maybe you are able to sense it or maybe not, who knows. And it's really magical. So let's make a short mini short pause, because when you're still here to read this and watch this, you are here to transcend to a higher frequency, which is magical, and I am inviting you also, and it's so important. So just sit there and have a short pause, close your eyes if you wish, and have a breeze like through the center of your heart and down to the center of your belly button, where also the solar plexus is, and make a connection between these 2 points of your heart center and your belly. You notice that there's a great expansion of wisdom and love that is so vast that a lot of times we are feared and we hold back to feel it and to experience it. So it's so important to let our children, our inner child speak, and to really be in the state of our love and our unconditionally serving and adventures about the world. And that's what boundlessness is all about, and that's what also the gift of adventure is all about. And so be grateful that you have like this gift and the Siddhi within you, within your genetics, and be grateful that you also are here on earth to experience this transformation in a sense. Thank you very much. Small mini guiding meditation for you. So this is a good ending point to this Chinky actually. So thank you very much to listen and watch this transmission with me together. Go out, act, initiate, follow your heart, and really see like this in a sense as a kind of permission slip, this small meditation exercise to focus like on the center of your heart and also to the center down to your belly button, to make a cross connection between your heart and the solar plexus, to let this unconditional love blossom in your life. Thank you very much. You, Dominic, as always, thumbs up whenever you love this content of mine. For sure, share it with friends when you feel like this is a value for them, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done yet. And there will pop up new videos now, should you feel like watching some more now. And if not, then act, and initiate your highest purpose and your soul's purpose into the world. You, Dominic. Thank you very much.